Welcome back. One final point before we go. A federal judge overturned the voter ID law in Texas, claiming it was racially motivated, intended to discriminate against minorities who don't have government IDs. There's just one problem here. The left's argument on voter ID is flawed on many, many levels. In fact, it's so fundamentally flawed, their argument is actually ridiculous. Let's walk through it. Liberals claim voter ID is discriminatory to minorities. Well, that's not true. It's also insulting to minorities to suggest they're somehow incapable of obtaining a government ID in order to vote. Factually, the numbers show it doesn't adversely affect minorities over whites. A Reuters study found 3% of black people don't have government IDs, while 2% of white people don't have government IDs. Do the math. More white people would be turned away for lacking an ID than black people. Liberals claim student IDs or library cards or credit cards should be good enough. Non-government IDs are good enough to prove who you are, liberals tell us. Listen, people need to get a government ID to get a job, to fly on an airplane, to get a credit card or open a bank account, to buy alcohol, cigarettes, or lotto tickets, to apply for welfare or Medicaid or unemployment, rent a house, rent an apartment, drive a car, get married, adopt a pet, rent a hotel room, apply for a fishing license, pick up a prescription, buy an M-rated video game. How many people who want to vote actually don't have a government ID? And there's no proof of citizenship on a student ID. Liberals claim fewer people will vote if we're required to show an ID. That's false too. A 2008 study by the University of Missouri found in Indiana, in the election after their voter ID law was passed, voter turnout actually increased. Perhaps because people had confidence in the integrity of their votes. Liberals claim voter ID is comparable to a poll tax, that we shouldn't place constraints on constitutional rights. Well, funny, I don't hear the same argument from the left when it comes to all the hoops we have to jump through in order to exercise our Second Amendment rights. We have to show an ID to buy a gun. Why shouldn't we have to show ID to vote? Liberals claim we don't need to protect the integrity of our votes because voter fraud simply doesn't exist. Yeah, in a nation where over 130 million people voted in the 2016 presidential election, Democrats actually believe nobody cheats? Well, I wish that were true, but here in the real world, unfortunately, not everybody plays by the rules. We have proof that voter fraud exists, or at the very least, the potential for mass voter fraud exists. James O'Keefe showed us how easy it is to vote under somebody else's name. Justice John Paul Stevens wrote that, and I quote here, "Flagrant examples of voter fraud have been documented that could affect the outcome of a close election." A bipartisan commission studying voter fraud at American University, co-chaired, by the way, by former President Jimmy Carter, they wrote, and I quote here too, "Our electoral system cannot inspire public confidence if no safeguards exist to confirm the identity of voters." Professors at Old Dominion University found in 2008 and 2010, 14% of non-citizens in our nation said they were registered to vote. With 12 million illegal immigrants in our country, that could be up to 1.6 million non-citizens who are registered to vote. Voter ID is discriminatory to minorities. Liberals tell us non-government IDs are good enough. Voter turnout will be stifled. Voter ID amounts to a poll tax, and voter fraud simply doesn't exist. One by one, factually and logically, all their arguments, they're empty. They're wrong. And that leaves us with this question. Why then do Democrats so vehemently oppose voter ID? Why is it so unreasonable to require an ID to vote? And that's my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a good night.